Hey, tribe. I just wanted to hop on here as I've been deep in my studying today. I just keep getting these downloads about what I can put out into the universe to, again, not only help myself, but help others move out of their old way of thinking and into their new way of thinking. Um, So I just wanted to talk about connection. And this is just like a little in between of the tools that I'm trying to provide for you to add to your toolbox. So I hope everyone enjoyed yesterday's video as I struggled like fuck trying to figure that stuff out. It's still not something that I'm the best at with technology, but I haven't been shown. So I really just need to find somebody to sit down with me and say, this is how this works. And that way I can actually retain it because sometimes without somebody being there to physically show me, I can't, like, it just doesn't compute. More so with technology. But like once you show me, I'm good. Like whenever I first got my job as an office manager, in my dental office, as the gal was showing me how like the program worked and everything, I picked it up really fast, and she was like, "Well, actually, doctor and I are pretty impressed how quickly you learned all of that." And it's just the way that my brain works when it comes to technical things. Um, so this little in between video again is going to be about connection and remembering that everything is energy. So for the longest time, I couldn't understand why people kept running away instead of trying to understand each other. Why we avoid, withdraw, or shut down instead of simply asking, what's happening inside you right now? Um, Still kind of yawning. It's been a long morning for me of studying. But it never made sense to me until I started walking my own healing journey, especially over the past few months since studying imagotherapy. The dialogue and the entire framework of conscious connection, things have started clicking in a way that feels cosmic. It's like the pieces have finally been able to lock into place. So we were actually taught a lie. Um, we were taught that disconnection is normal, that relationships are separate, and that people are too much or not enough, and that love only works when you've fixed yourself first. But as I'm learning imago therapy, Harville Hendricks and Helen LaKelly Hunt has helped us see that this is a very false story. It's a product of the old psychology that saw humans as isolated, independent systems. So they debunked that worldview and revealed a universal truth. Everything is energy. You feel it whenever you're going into a wedding. You feel it whenever you're going into a funeral. You feel it whenever somebody walks into the room, even before they say anything. um, so we are always exchanging energy. Every word, every silence, every look between two people is an energetic transmission. Somewhere along the line, through childhood trauma, unmet needs, rejection, shame, we became separate from our own soul. We began writing narratives based off of that pain. I'm too much. I'm not enough. I have to do it all alone. And from there, we started living from our defense system instead of our essence. But through my plant journeys, I have found my soul again. I remembered that she never left. I just learned to bring her home without fear of who she truly is. That was my union, and that was rebirth for me. Now we're entering a new era of relational understanding, one that doesn't glorify isolation as healing. The old self-help mantra said, you must heal yourself first before, and you must be whole before you can love. But that's only half truth. We are always in relationship with ourselves, with others, with our higher source, with the world around us. You can heal inside a relationship. In fact, the relationship is a healing container. Safety doesn't mean perfection, it means two adults saying, I'm willing to stay through the discomfort. I'll hold you while you find yourself. We'll go through the bullshit together and still come out on top. That's a power couple. That's the new paradigm. Healing through connection, not isolation. When we shift from separation to connection, our nervous system literally rewires. So the old brain that was built for survival and protection starts to relax. The new brain built for awareness and empathy starts to lead. And energy, the same life force that fuels the heart and cell, begins to flow freely again. That's when we stop running. That's when understanding becomes more neutral than defending. That's when love becomes safe enough to stay. So I'm going to run down the ontology of separation. We think we're separate things. What ontology means is the study of being. It's about how we understand reality and existence. So when Hendricks says the ontology of separation, from his Imago work that I've been studying, he's describing a worldview or belief system where everything, including people, is seen separate, individual, and self-contained. The old scientific view says everything is separate and solid. And the old Newtonian view of the universe, which is the worldview of the Isaac Newton's law of physics, he says that reality was thought to be made up of separate things, solid matter that could be observed and measured. Each thing existed on its own. So, for example, a planet orbits its own path, a person lives their own life, a cell functions inside of its own boundary. Even though these things interact, they are seen as disconnected units, not parts of a single living system. So think of a box full of marbles. Each marble is complete on its own. They might bump into each other, but one marble's existence doesn't depend on the others. That's the ontology of separation. So when we incorporate the space and time that was also considered um, fixed in this worldview, space and time were sorry, in this worldview, space and time were seen as absolutes. The It's like a big empty container that holds things but isn't affected by them. And everything moves through this space and time, but nothing changes space or time itself. This reinforces the belief that the universe and everything in it is fundamentally separate and mechanical. It's like seeing reality as a machine. Each part does its job, and as long as the parts don't interfere too much, the machine keeps running. In human terms, individualism is the highest goal. When this worldview got translated into human psychology and culture, it became individualism. The belief that being separate, independent, and self sufficient is what makes you strong and mature. We started to measure success by how well you can function without needing others. Independence became a virtue, and dependence became a weakness. In this system, boundaries are sacred. The message is don't lose yourself and others, protect your space, take care of yourself first. In psychology and therapy, the fix yourself first model sounds like the same separation model as it shows up in Western therapy traditions. The the idea is before you can have a healthy relationship, you must fix your own issues. Therapists focused mostly on helping clients develop strong self-concepts and internal stability. Relationship problems were viewed as personal problems that were resolved once the individual became whole on their own. Essentially, connection was seen as a luxury, something to enjoy after you've healed, not the place where healing actually happens. So, the hidden belief behind it all is the underlying assumption that is if I can fix what's broken inside of me, then I'll finally be ready to connect with others, which is what I was taught. And this is exactly what I'm trying to, let go of that wiring process within myself and everyone else because I've been sitting over here like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And that's not even the concept. It's just um, you're moving through the motions of rewiring your brain to understand that you don't have to do this on your own, and everyone is deserving of a relationship because that is where we heal. So that's where Harville Hendricks challenges all those concepts later in what he calls the cosmic journey and the illusion that you can um, ever be separate from others in the first place. The belief in separation itself, that you exist, is an ice. Um, the belief in separation itself, that you exist as an isolated being, is what creates the very pain and disconnection people are trying to heal from. So the old worldview is saying that everything is made of separate, self-containing pieces. The cultural message is saying that independence is good, needing others is bad. And the therapeutic model says that you heal alone first, relationships become later. So the core illusion is that disconnection is seen as real, when in truth, it's just a misunderstanding of how existence actually works. So now I'm going to move on to the ontology of connection. Everything is already in relationship. So we've spent a lifetime believing in separation, the idea that we are individuals moving through space and time, brushing against each other, um, but ultimately alone in our own private universe. But the truth is, way deeper, older, and far more beautiful. You have never been separate. You've always been a note in a vast symphony of energy. Distinct, yes, but never disconnected. The universe is a tapestry, not a machine. In the old worldview, reality looked like a machine: solid parts, fixed laws, and definite, sorry, definite edges. My mouth is trying to work, apparently. But the ontology of connection says that the universe is a tapestry, and it's woven from light, matter, frequency, and consciousness. Everything is actually a relationship event happening in motion. In quantum physics, we learn that particles are never truly isolated. They exist in fields of energy that respond to observation and relationship. So the observer and the observed co-create. I can't get my words out today. Um, I have to go back. So the observer and the observed co-create reality together. Sorry. That means you're not separate from what you see. You and your environment are constantly co-shaping one another. It's moments like that that I go back and I'm like, ah, hopefully this is a great laughing moment for somebody. Um, so instead of being a thing in the universe, you are the universe expressing itself as you for a moment in time. Connection is not optional, it's the default setting. So if we were to zoom in on your body, your cells, your atoms, what would we find? We would find movement, communication, relationship. So your heart and your lungs are dancing partners, and your nervous system is in dialogue with your gut, your breath, and your thoughts. You're a walking ecosystem of constant conversation. That same intelligence exists between you and every person that you meet. Every conversation, every glance, every silence is all an energetic exchange reshaping the field between you. And in imago theory, they call this the space between. It's the sacred relational field where everything that matters happens. Healing doesn't happen in you or in them, it happens between you. That between space is not empty, it's alive, intelligent, responsive. When it's filled with safety and presence, it becomes the womb of transformation. So energy never ends, it only changes form. And in this connected universe, there is no solid matter, only energies in different densities. A table, a tree, a person, they're all condensed patterns of vibrating energy. When you speak, when you feel, when you think, your energy shifts. Your emotions are waves moving through this field, influencing others who influence you back. This is why the illusion of I don't matter or what I do doesn't affect anyone is so painful because it's false at the most fundamental level of reality. You are affecting everything all of the time, and everything is affecting you all of the time. You are a living node in the web of being. Harville Hendricks actually described this as in an ontology of connection, there are no independent entities, only distinguishable points, nodes within the tapestry of being. So think of yourself as one of these nodes, an intersection point where consciousness flows in and out. You're not a separate you're not a separate self trying to connect. You are a connection temporarily self-aware. When you begin to see yourself this way, something profound shifts in your nervous system. Your body stops scanning for threat and starts relaxing into belonging. That's the beginning of healing because the trauma of humanity is disconnection. And the cure is remembering that we were never disconnected to begin with. So healing is remembering relationship. In Imago, we say that we were wounded in relationship and we heal in relationship. And that's not just poetic, it's neurobiological. Our brains wiring for, sorry, your brain's wiring for safety, love, and regulation was built through connection. When those early connections were inconsistent or unsafe, your body learned to contract to survive. Healing then isn't about fixing yourself in isolation. It's about entering safe, intentional connection that allows the nervous system to relax and trust again. Each time you are seen without judgment, each time you are mirrored with accuracy, and each time someone says, you make sense, your brain rewires. So the field between you, sorry, I need some water. Oh my God. So the field between you restores coherence, and the illusion of separation dissolves just a little more. So conscious relationship can be seen as a spiritual practice. When we bring this understanding into imago dialogue, mirroring, validating, empathizing, we are literally practicing universal law. We are embodying the ontology of connection. Every moment of conscious dialogue is an act of creation. It's two beings choosing to remember oneness right there in the space between them. That's why Imago isn't just communication training, it's a spiritual discipline. It trains us to experience life, not to um, not as me and you, but as we. So it's not as some form of competition, but communion. The relationship itself becomes the teacher, and it's showing us that where we've forgotten our belonging, and it's inviting us home to it again. In the old paradigm, maturity meant independence. And in the new paradigm, maturity means interdependence. True growth isn't becoming self sufficient, it's becoming self aware within the web of life. So when your old brain says, I need to protect myself, your new brain can whisper back, I'm safe in connection. That's how we evolve from survival to thriving. That's how we align with the cosmos, and it's not by isolating, it's by resonating. So think of separation um, like the old telephone wires. You gotta plug that shit in. Like, remember seeing all those videos of those ladies that would connect everybody through the freaking little slots? Everything had to be plugged in. So like you had to literally be plugged in to communicate. You're limited by cables and by static, but connection is Wi-Fi, invisible, omnipresent, constantly transmitting. You don't have to plug in to belong, you just have to tune in. So your consciousness is that receiver and your presence is the signal strength. Um, so that's just a different analogy that of how we can look at that. So I'm going to have you just take a deep breath in through your heart. Just pretend like your heart has a nose and it's sucking in all this beautiful oxygen that we're gifted. And you can exhale through your body and you can say, I am not alone in this universe. I am the universe remembering itself through me. Everything I touch, I affect, and everything that touches me shapes me in return. Connection is my nature, separation is the dream. So, thank you for joining me today as I felt I had to kind of release this out into the universe. Stay tuned for your no your next set of tools that you could add to that tool bag. And for anyone who wants to change their relationships and learn to lean into repair instead of repeating ruptures, please watch these and go back if you can and watch my other videos. There's some great information in these to help you rewire your brain for that healthy love connection. And, again, my goal is to heal the collective that feels broken so I can show them that they are not. I just want to water their garden so it can grow within the sunlight that it's already been planted in. And again, I'm very grateful for the relationships that I've had in my past because they have brought me here to these moments to where I can actually allow myself to have new tools so I can not repeat old patterns and I can rewire my brain into this beautiful new life that I have been able to discover. And even though some of those relationships weren't always the best, I don't view things as good or bad. I view them as what they were or as they are. And I constantly ask myself what I can bring with me as a learning experience from those. I never have any hard feelings toward anybody, um, or through any experience. I still love everybody I've had experiences with, and I always am open and willing to have communication and more understanding with anyone who ever comes to my door asking for more information or how to move forward so they can also break free from old patterns. Because the more that we realize that we don't have to hold grudges against people and that we do have a choice on reconnecting and reestablishing relationships, that actually helps us heal. And we can actually further that by opening up to communications where where they were once closed off. So I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next segment. Get your toolboxes out, guys.